back.
Amazon's latest attempt at a big-budget, must-see TV series based off existing IP with an inbuilt fanbase is actually good. Shit. Really? I didn't expect that after the Rings of Power, but it's true. The creative team actually made a fun TV show. Now, it isn't without its faults, as I'll elaborate on shortly, but broadly, I had a great time. The story follows three characters: Lucy, a naive member of Vault 33, Maximus, a cunning squire in the Brotherhood of Steel, and the Ghoul, a ruthless bounty hunter, all trying to retrieve a man who stole a mysterious relic from the Enclave. The relic itself could give one control over all the wasteland, but for our trio, the motivations are far more elemental. Lucy wishes to use it as a bargaining chip to rescue her abducted father, Maximus wants to become a fully fledged knight, and the Ghoul is hunting for a woman named Moldover, who played a role in his life before the bombs dropped and is after the relic herself. There are secondary storylines involving a mystery surrounding Vault Tech and the machinations of political leaders who run the Brotherhood, but for the majority of the 8 episodes you're flying with this trio. The lead character, Lucy, is funny, fierce, and feral in equal measure and captivates from the get-go, and I don't just mean that because the actress is good looking. Her character is beaten and stabbed enough times that it's very clear the writers weren't interested in making her a Mary Sue. Instead, she must earn her survival and adapt to this harsh world without anyone doing her any favors. While the humor throughout is hit and miss, there are good moments where Lucy's hopeful optimism and go-getter monologues are undercut by surface dweller cynicism. I watched the first season of Yellow Jackets, and seeing Ella Purnell make the jump from being such a strong secondary character to the lead in her own show has been great. Ella must be ecstatic she was murdered and eaten on Yellow Jackets, because a lead on a show this big is a massive coup. The Ghoul, played by Walton Goggins, is just as compelling, and that's not surprising given how great an actor he is. If you haven't seen the comedy series Vice Principals or The Righteous Gemstones, then you're depriving yourself of some truly phenomenal work.
Excuse me? The teachers are the ones being assholes. They're the ones who need to use some honey, you dusty old queef. Oh, Christine, I'm sorry. You set me up. I had to. Christine, please don't. Christine? Nobody gets my sense of humor.
Unfortunately, Maximus drags everything down as Aaron Moten does a really mediocre job. There are a few highlights such as his work in episode 6, and everyone is on fire in the finale, but it's insane to sit here and say, trust me bro, spend 5 hours of your life on this guy and then the acting gets better. So it needs to be said that this is the first weak point in the series, and if we put allegations aside for a minute, I couldn't help but see Jonathan Majors doing a better job in a role like this. A mix of his work in Lovecraft County and Creed 3 would have been sensational. Nevertheless, where Moten stumbles, Purnell and Goggins carry the load, and so too does the supporting cast, especially Lucy's brother Norm, played by Moises Arias. He brings so much intelligence to a role which could have been easily tossed aside and forgotten for the sake of more bombastic storylines. A second strength to the series is the set, costumes, and CGI. Real money was again spent here, and it shows. The power armor looks extremely realistic, and at no point did it seem like you were staring at an obviously fake environment. The Western vibe is immaculate, and probably my favorite part of the whole series visually is how lived in the Ghoul's costume feels. Unfortunately, this is undone by a lack of color grading and confusing world design. Characters move so effortlessly from destroyed cities to deserts to woods to a lake without there being any real sense of change in the visuals. You can refer back to Game of Thrones to see an example where the color grade was so unique for each faction that you could track the changes subconsciously. With Fallout, the grading is the same for scenes amongst the Vault dwellers as it is for the surface, and that doesn't really make any sense. This brings me to a final criticism, which is that the details have been overlooked. Scenes run a little too long, slow motion musical numbers are a little too repetitive, and worst of all, the writing has gaps in it that set my teeth on edge. For instance, a tumbleweed scares Lucy in episode 2, but in episode 1 they showed her watching westerns with her father. A tumbleweed is a quintessential Western image, and it would have likely been in one of the movies that they watched together. This is particularly annoying when the writers then ignore the fact that Lucy would be in awe of a starlit night sky, not even 2 minutes later when she sets up camp. She has been living underground since birth after all, guys. This shouldn't be a tough thing to figure out. time is spent on a gag that doesn't really make sense instead of a character moment. Another example is that a water chip, essential for purifying water for Vault 33, is destroyed in the chaos of episode 1, but then no effort is made over several episodes to check and see if Vault 32 has a working water chip that could be used. Now, the people are not supposed to be in Vault 32 until a twist I won't discuss here, but given they only had 2 months of water left, it would kind of justify checking to see if resources could be scavenged. These inconsistent details are quite aggravating when you watch multiple episodes back to back, and it may be a good case for only releasing episodes weekly, since most writers would probably benefit from some forgetfulness on the viewer's part. Ultimately, these moments don't ruin the series, but they are details which make you jolt back and think, well, wait a sec, 2 episodes ago they said this and now we're having that, and it ruins the flow state you want the audience to be in. Finally, I talk about the ubiquitous 33 a lot in my reviews, and sweet baby Jesus, this show is making me ultra paranoid. Were the creative team given ownership of this massive IP because they reached a certain rung on the ladder? Did they then flaunt their allegiance in an on-the-nose manner for reasons unknown to me? I'm just asking questions, man. It's up to you to decide for yourself. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you've got the time, then I think Fallout is worth watching. Have a great day.
There you are, you little killer.